Para continuar completando la filmografía de David Fincher, busqué a alguien que haya trabajado en Mank y pude hablar con una de las actrices que fue parte de esta película nominada al Oscar el fin de semana pasado. Hablo de Monika Gossman, que me contó cómo se trabaja con este director y cómo fue recrear, ficcionar la historia detrás de uno de los clásicos de la historia del cine, considerado para muchos la mejor película alguna vez hecha. Todo esto me contaba Monika Gossman.
We now return to Mira Akien and Contre with our latest interview.
And if you like drama, then you will follow this storyline. If you're more into the niche, into film, you will understand that level. And then if you're like into the politics, you'll understand that level as well. So I would say it has so many levels, and that's again good drama and good art, that you will always discover something new. So I hope that it's received more and by people, all kinds of people, because this is what art should be about. But I would say that for some people it's a little bit too difficult and too niche.
Hello, everyone.
Make yourself to home, Mr. Mankowitz, or shall I call you Herman?
Please call me Mank. Mank. Mank.
Mank.
Mank.
I come from theater as well. I studied at Moscow Art Theater School, and Moscow Art always teaches you to do theater and film. There's no kind of like, it's one craft, and then you just the styles are slightly different. But if you come from theater, you love that process. I mean, it's a director working with you constantly. It's like having rehearsals. We had rehearsals before we even got to the set. We were sitting around the table and we had readings, which I know well, because that's how I was raised in the school. So that wasn't something new to me. That was something new to me in film, because normally either you don't have time or the director doesn't want it, but more so you don't have the money to do that, right? So it's a privilege to have the possibility to rehearse. And after that, being actually there and be able to rehearse it over and over in the space, repeat the text, I loved it, because the first 20 takes, he's not even taking care of the actors. He's taking care, he gives you that time to feel good in the space, but he's taking care of technical stuff, where to put the camera is rehearsing the lights, everything needs to be perfect, right? Yeah, everything needs to be perfect for him.
Yeah.
Which is amazing, because you're in good hands, right? Thank God, because he was going to do everything so you look good.
As you know, Fraulein Freda is not only a nurse and physical therapist. She studied nutrition back in the old country. Ja, liebes Fräulein.
Jawohl, Herr Hausmann.
Freda is a tricky character because she's not speaking much. She's appearing often, but she's always kind of like observing, right? So you can express this a lot in theater, right? Because the audience kind of sees everything. But with film, as you know, with like editing, only the stuff that the director and editor are giving in, this is what the audience will get from her. So she was, we didn't want her to be just this nurse that has one scene and that's it. So he wanted it to be a full character representing, and that was important for me too, representing Germany, basically, and Germany at that time, and the people of Germany, the 100 people that she's talking about, and even more, right? The whole situation in Germany, and being also someone who left, the country. We found it basically together that we can only tell that through Mank and how she's taking care of Mank, because he's kind of the savior, right? Yeah. And the love for him, right? So I tried to focus on that, and shaping the character we definitely did together. Yeah. There was always a conversation. And what I love about Fincher is that you can even argue with him, right? I remember one time I was like, David, I don't think she's going to be in the kitchen when this and this is happening. I think she's going to be right there. And he's like, now you're talking like a maniac. And I was like, okay, it's your movie. Okay, good. I'm going to be in the kitchen. It's all right. I'm getting my makeup done, and and I'm coming on set, and he's like, you're right. Right. So, I mean, this is a dialogue that you wish with a director. When you propose something, he's having a point of view, and then, I mean, he's so open to be changing his view when he understands, is for the good of the character and the storytelling, right? So for me, he has zero ego.
It's a dry house. The owner of the ranch doesn't permit alcohol. But you're from Pennsylvania. You're no doubt used to it.
Gary Oldman, his character Mank, is often lying there, especially in our scenes where we are not in the flashbacks, but in like the real time in the 40s, where he wrote Citizen Kane. So, and he's always lying in this bed, right? Because he's like, handicapped and the nurse is taking care of him. And then one of the scenes, like further at the end of the screenplay writing, pretty much when he's got the scene with Houseman, where Houseman is like, this is the best thing you've ever wrote.
It's good, Mank. Damn good.
I have it on highest authority. It's the best thing he's ever done.
Fincher wanted it, and he had it all set up. We know Fincher, right? He thought it's going to happen in the bed, right? So he's like, early morning, because Fincher loves early mornings. We would have like calls at 3 a.m., like he loves it. So we would be rehearsing at 5 a.m. And then Gary comes in and, Gary, Lily, Sam, and me, the four of us always. And then he goes like, okay, Gary, you're like in the bed as usual. And then Gary goes like, really, David, maybe he's already sitting and like he has his leg somewhere on a couch or on little something, and because he's already healing, right? And Freda, and I was like, yeah, Freda is almost gone in the storytelling, so why not? They moved him, he wrote that, and then Fincher was like, okay. So he completely, you know what that means for a director and cinematographer, right? Completely changed the set. In terms of like the set was there, but I mean, how to, he changed it from bed to the angle of the table and the chair.
To support devices.
Support devices.
He's the perfect, all of them, Lily and Sam too, they're amazing partners, right? They would always support your work with their acting. So there was always a respect and also a support. We all wanted to tell the story as much as we could. Yeah. And seeing someone like Gary who could relax and, in terms of like, I can only do 50%, it's going to be still good enough. No, he gave always 120. I mean, up to the point where I remember one day, we shot sometimes scenes for 2 or 3 days, one scene, if it was a big one. So we would have the camera sometimes first on Gary, and then on us, like the other ones, or the other way around. So first on us and then on him. So he had one day where he wasn't on screen at all. He was sitting on a little box. The cameras were on us, and he was just there to give us the eye lines and the text, which normally does someone like an assistant, is reading the text. But no, he was there. I mean, partly because Fincher wanted it, and also because, he took it on and he did it, right? Yeah. And always support, not reading the text just like blah, 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 but really trying to support with acting even while sitting on this little box, right? The way he was giving the text. Yeah. So that was amazing.
I made no campaign promises because until a few weeks ago, I had no hope of being elected.
I knew the movie already. I watched it as classic, right? So it's kind of like, if you're doing this, you maybe should watch things like that. I don't know. But I rewatched it, obviously. And we did have, Fincher wanted us to, he never rehearsed it or told us what to do, but he just said one line. He was like, we need to act the people that were living there, and the style of cinematography that was performed during that time. And somehow just these 2 sentences made us all understand what he means.
This is a business where the buyer gets nothing for his money but a memory. What he bought still belongs to the man who sold it. That's the real magic of the movies.
It came out in December, but Fincher was ready with it in March 2020. So that means he was, I was seeing the raw version because, and that's only how cool he is and how amazing, right? Going back to zero ego, he wanted us to give feedback. I think it's something that you need to rewatch, which you want, right? I mean, this happens with all the Fincher movies to me. I want to see them over and over again, and I will always find something new. That is, to me, cinematography at its best. I don't want to, me personally, I don't want to see a movie where I understand in the middle of it where the end is, how the end is going to be, and I'm actually not interested in even the style of filming. So, it's just perfect in all senses, but it's definitely a niche product.
By the time you finish the first draft, which is to say in 90 days, you should be a world-class sprinter.
Fincher is my favorite director, so that was a little bit surreal for me because it's like, it's like touching, going for the stars, and he was Fincher far away, and I grew up watching his movies, so I was a teenager when Fight Club came out, and I don't know how many times I've been seeing his films, or I'm revisiting them over and over. So actually, just having the possibility to do casting with him was already a pretty cool experience and a big honor, and to be working with him even more so.